In a recent chapter, Jarul mentioned that according to the legend of Elbaf, the world has been destroyed twice. We already know exactly when the second instance of the world's destruction occurred. It happened during Joy Boy's time 800 to 900 years ago, at the height of the Void Century. During this time, Wano erected its border to protect itself from being affected again if another world-ending event or a rise in the ocean were to occur. The representative of the sun god Nika during that era was none other than Joy Boy himself, but he failed to protect the world. Now the question arises, when exactly did the first world destruction occur? I think we might already have an answer. If we apply same logic as Wano creating its border as a precautionary measure against another possible world flood, we can draw a parallel to Alabasta. According to the One Piece wiki, Alabasta is said to be 4000 years old. If you notice, just like Wano which created borders as a preventive measure, Alabasta's structure also appeared to reflect this. This suggests that the first world destruction might have occurred 4000 years ago. The destruction of the world and the fact that the original sun god Nika was specially the one who saved people during that time is linked to the mention later on about the giants, who are divided in their opinion about Sun Nika. Some claim that Nika is truly a liberator, while others consider him a destructor. The reason for this division is obvious. According to Jarul, whenever sun god Nika appears, major changes occur in the world. This means that whenever the legendary devil fruit, the Hito no Mi model Nika awakens, it senses that the world is on the verge of destruction, or that evil forces are planning something terrible. As Gorose said, this devil fruit, the Hito no Mi model Nika, seems to have a will of its own, avoiding certain situations. If the soul of real sun god Nika is indeed attached to this devil fruit, it makes sense that it can sense the right time to awaken. And now that the world is in danger and Imu-sama is threatening to destroy it again, we assume this is the reason why this devil fruit chose Luffy. In short, the idea that giants consider sun god Nika a destructor stems from the belief that if the chosen one during Nika's era failed to save the world, it is misinterpreted as Nika being the one responsible for destruction. However, this is not true. It's simply that the chosen one failed to protect the world. Therefore, if Luffy succeeds in protecting people against Imu-sama this time, this notion of Nika as destructor will surely be erased and replaced with a positive view of this deity. Anyway, let's now focus on the more detailed appearance of sun god Nika. As I mentioned in our chapter review, unlike the silhouette revealed by Oda before, we now have a more detailed look at sun god Nika. But what is the most striking feature? Yes, it's evident that his appearance really resembles Gear 5 Luffy, since the Hito no Mi model Nika is literally based on him. They share a similar smile, hairstyle, and even the clouds wrap around their bodies. However, the most noticeable feature here is the weapon he is holding. Many suggest that the sword held by the sun god Nika is very similar to the sword we saw in Elbaf. Yes, it may seem annoying, but we can't really say it's exactly the same sword. I see it more as a religious belief, similar to how Catholic buy rosaries or other items related to their faith. So this sword isn't something most intriguing part here. Rather, it is the shield he is holding. If you notice, this shield bears the mark of sun, a symbol we have seen multiple times throughout the story of One Piece. This symbol was particularly emphasized during Wano arc as it's part of the Kozuki family crest. Aside from the Kozuki family of Wano, we also seen this symbol on Fishman Island, similar to the tattoo on King Neptune's arm, and also resemble the logo of the Sun Pirates. In the recent Egghead arc, we saw this symbol in the Sobat Kingdom, the same symbol that Kuma prayed to. During the Skypiea arc, we also encountered several similar symbols. Even in Alabasta, the emblem they bear a resemblance of this sun symbol. So what does this symbol really means? What is the common denominator among all the places I have mentioned where we saw the sun symbol? Wano, Fishman Island, Skypiea, and Alabasta. All these places have something common. They hold poneglyphs. In Alabasta, we saw a poneglyph in the Royal Tomb. In Fishman Island, there were literally 2 poneglyphs. In Wano, it's hidden beneath their civilization. In Skypiea, it's also hidden beneath the upper yard. We know that these poneglyphs were created to preserve history or the truth about what happened during Void Century. If history were simply written on normal paper or in books, the world government would just destroy it. This means that it's obvious these places that hold poneglyphs are the enemies of world government. This suggests that the places I have mentioned were allies of Joy Boy during the Void Century. And I think they were also allies of the first sun god Nika. This might be what Queen Nefertari Lily of the Alabasta realized. At some point, she must have understood that Alabasta was related to the first sun god. That's why when the time came for Alabasta to join 20 kingdoms to overthrow the ancient kingdom, Alabasta back out. They withdraw when Nefertari Lily realized that joining the world government was the wrong path. Anyway, in summary, Jarul mentioned that the world has been destroyed twice. The first catastrophe we assume happened during 4000 years ago. Our evidence for this is the creation of Alabasta, which is similar to the situation in Wano, as both were built to prevent the rising of the sea. The one tasked with saving humanity at that time was the original sun god Nika. The second catastrophe happened 800 to 900 years ago, during the Void Century when Joyboy was tasked to saving the world. And now another catastrophe looms. This time, the one who will save the world is our protagonist, Luffy. So that's our topic about the possible destruction of the world in One Piece. Hopefully you enjoy this discussion.